Chris Jericho smashed Dean Ambrose's head with Mitch the Potted Plant, Ambrose got his revenge by destroying Jericho's $15,000 jacket. This made Jericho furious, so later that week he attacked Ambrose from behind, put him in a straitjacket, and hit him with the code breaker. This pushed Ambrose to his breaking point, so he challenged Jericho to the first ever Ambrose Asylum match. The stipulation involved being trapped inside a steel cage with various weapons hanging above the ring, and the only way to win was by pinfall or submission. When their match started, Ambrose got to the weapons first and used them to attack Jericho. But when he started setting up a thumbtack trap, Jericho grabbed a fire extinguisher and used it to blind Ambrose. After finally getting the upper hand, Jericho tried to end it with the codebreaker, but Ambrose was able to reverse it by sending Jericho into the thumbtacks. Ambrose went on to win the match, and less than a month later, he won the Money in the Bank briefcase and cashed it in the same night to become WWE Champion. After Triple H successfully defended his WWF Championship against Cactus Jack at the 2000 Royal Rumble, Jack got Triple H to agree to a rematch inside Hell in a Cell, putting his career on the line at the No Way Out pay-per-view. But their championship rematch quickly went off the rails after Cactus Jack busted open the cell wall, allowing both competitors to escape the cage. Triple H attempted to retreat from the fight by climbing the cell, but Jack followed right behind him, and the two started to fight on top of the cell's roof. Cactus Jack attempted to end the match by going for a pile driver, but Triple H was able to reverse it, sending Jack to the cell roof into the ring below. Then, after hitting his pedigree finisher, Triple H pinned Cactus Jack and ended his career, or so we thought. 1 week before WrestleMania 2000, Linda McMahon announced that Mick Foley was reinstated and would have one more opportunity at the WWF Championship. But during that fatal four-way match, Foley came up short again, and Triple H went on to be the first heel to win in the main event of WrestleMania. After Big Show threatened to throw Torrie Wilson off a 20-foot ledge, Kurt Angle attempted to reason with him. However, his efforts were met with a brutal chokeslam that sent him crashing to the ground instead. Once Kurt Angle recovered from his injury, he sought revenge by targeting Big Show with a tranquilizer and shaving his head bald. This audacious act set the stage for a match between the two at the No Mercy pay-per-view. In the initial moments of their match, Big Show demonstrated his dominance, leaving Kurt Angle with no choice but to get himself counted out. However, Teddy Long ordered Angle to resume the match or never wrestle on SmackDown again. After Kurt Angle reluctantly returned to the ring, Big Show maintained his relentless dominance, leaving Angle struggling to find an opening. However, a fortunate turn of events occurred when the referee was knocked down, creating an opportunity for Angle to attack Big Show with the steel chair. Despite Angle's effort, it proved insufficient to secure a victory. In the closing moments of the match, Big Show chokeslammed Angle from the top rope and pinned him for the win. After severing ties with his manager, Paul Bearer, by entombing him in concrete, The Undertaker shifted his focus to a new goal, challenging JBL for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. However, during their title match, JBL cunningly provoked The Undertaker into getting himself disqualified. In retaliation, The Undertaker unleashed his fury and chokeslammed JBL through the roof of his limousine. Despite JBL's attempts to avoid a rematch, Teddy Long eventually booked them to face off in a last ride match at the No Mercy pay-per-view. The match was a relentless back and forth with non-stop action, and just when The Undertaker seemed to gain the upper hand after chokeslamming JBL through the announcer's table, Heidenreich suddenly attacked him. Taking advantage of the chaos, Heidenreich placed Undertaker inside the hearse, allowing JBL to secure an unexpected victory. But the humiliation didn't end there. Paul Heyman drove the hearse to a parking lot where Heidenreich slammed a car into it, causing a giant explosion.
In mid-2000, Mick Foley was named commissioner after being forced to retire from in-ring competition, and one of his first headaches as commissioner was WWF champion Kurt Angle. Every time there was a new number one contenders match, Angle would interfere and cause the match to end in a disqualification. Foley was over his antics, so he decided to name 5 number one contenders: The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Undertaker, and Rikishi. And to add insult to injury, Foley made it a Hell in a Cell match. Mr. McMahon did not want 6 of his biggest stars trapped inside their most dangerous structure, so he went to each competitor begging them to withdraw. After no one accepted, the match went on as scheduled, and chaos broke out as soon as the bell rang. McMahon tried to end things early by ripping off the cage door, but that just made things worse. Everyone started to climb and fight on top of the cell, including the 400-pound Rikishi. Then Mr. McMahon's worst nightmare came true. Rikishi got chokeslammed off the top of the cell. Immediately after Randy Orton gave the fabulous Moolah an RKO on her 80th birthday, he made it his mission to take out every wrestling legend in sight. In the following weeks, Sergeant Slaughter, Booker T, and Rob Van Dam all fell victim to the self-proclaimed legend killer. And next on Orton's list was the wrestling legend Mick Foley. Orton already had a long history of bullying Foley, and thought it would be easy to defeat the hardcore legend in his signature match. But in the weeks leading up to the event, Foley started to get more crazy and slipped into his alter ego, Cactus Jack. This was bad news for Orton, and when it was time for him to fight at the Backlash pay-per-view, he was clearly unprepared. Orton got hit in the face with a barbed wire bat, thrown back first into a bed of tacks, and even tossed off the top of the stage. But to everyone's surprise, he was able to endure the pain and fight back. Foley almost ended Orton's win streak that night, but at the end of the match, Orton gave Foley an RKO on a barbed wire bat and picked up the victory.
After Big Show tried to end Rey Mysterio's career at the 2003 Backlash pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar challenged him to the first ever stretcher match for the WWE Championship. The objective of the match was to incapacitate your opponent enough to get them on a stretcher and roll them across the finish line for the victory. At one point during their historic matchup, Brock Lesnar disappeared backstage while Rey Mysterio returned from injury to get his revenge on Big Show. Mysterio hit the 619 and immediately went for a running clothesline, but Big Show was able to overpower him. Once it looked like Mysterio was going to be put back on the injured list, Brock Lesnar drove back to the ring with a forklift, climbed to the top, and delivered a flying clothesline to Big Show. After hitting his devastating F5 finisher, Lesnar got creative by using the forklift to carry the 500-pound Big Show across the finish line for the victory. But this wouldn't be the end of their rivalry. During their rematch 1 month later, Brock Lesnar hit a superplex on Big Show, causing the entire ring to implode.
After defeating Shawn Michaels in the #1 contenders match on Monday Night Raw, the Great Khali secured his chance to challenge John Cena for the WWE Championship at Judgment Day. Although Khali tapped out to Cena's STFU during this match, it was later disclosed that the referee overlooked Khali's leg being under the rope. As a result, Khali was granted a championship rematch at the One Night Stand pay-per-view in a Falls Count Anywhere match. In the early moments of his second opportunity, Khali dominated. However, it wasn't long before the action moved outside and into the crowd. Cena finally gained an advantage by striking Khali with the TV monitor and clotheslining him using a boom camera. Despite this momentum, it was only enough for a 2 count. Cena tried to secure the win with his FU finisher, but Khali countered with an elbow, directing the assault towards a giant crane atop the stage. It was there that Cena managed to gain the upper hand again with an eye-ring, and ultimately delivered his FU finisher from the crane to the concrete floor below and picked up the victory. After banishing The Undertaker from WWE by defeating him in a tables, ladders, and chairs match, Edge redirected his attention towards marrying his fiancée, Vicky Guerrero. However, their wedding ceremony was cut short when Triple H revealed that Edge was involved in an affair with the wedding planner. This revelation prompted Vicky to reinstate The Undertaker to face Edge at SummerSlam inside Hell in a Cell. During the match's initial stages, Edge used his specialty TLC weapons to gain the upper hand and then speared Undertaker through the cell wall to the outside. Then Edge executed another spear through the announcer's table, but it still wasn't enough to secure the victory. Undertaker was able to fight back using his own arsenal of weapons and sealed the deal with a tombstone piledriver. While The Undertaker was making his exit, he saw Edge still moving on the Titantron. This prompted him to re-enter the ring and execute a decisive chokeslam, sending Edge off a ladder and through the heart of the ring.
At the 2019 Royal Rumble, Shane McMahon and The Miz did the unthinkable and won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. But they would lose the titles to the Usos just a month later. Shane and Miz only had one more chance to capture the gold before WrestleMania, and that opportunity took place at the Fastlane pay-per-view. After another tough fight, both men would come up short again. This infuriated Shane, which caused him to snap and attack Miz after the match. He even went after the Miz's father, who was sitting ringside. Shane accused Miz of using him, and he wanted to beat him up again, so he challenged him to a match at WrestleMania. Miz said he would only accept if the stipulation was Falls Count Anywhere, so Shane agreed. In the opening minutes of the WrestleMania 35 match, the action spilled out in the audience, and both men began fighting all over MetLife Stadium. Once they got over to the production area, Shane started climbing a camera scaffold, and The Miz followed him. After he got Shane cornered, Miz dragged him to the edge and suplexed him off the scaffold.
After CM Punk began his ascent to retrieve his third Money in the Bank briefcase, Paul Heyman betrayed his client by knocking him down and smashing his head with a ladder. Punk declared that he would relentlessly target Paul Heyman's associates until he had the chance to confront Heyman directly. This opportunity finally arrived at Night of Champions in a no disqualification handicap elimination match. However, right after Punk eliminated Curtis Axel, Ryback unexpectedly intervened and launched a vicious assault on Punk, ultimately enabling Heyman to secure the pinfall victory. Punk managed to avenge himself against Ryback at the Battleground pay-per-view, yet his burning desire to confront Heyman remained. To achieve this, Punk proposed a beat-the-clock challenge to Ryback, wherein the winner would select the stipulation for their forthcoming Hell in a Cell match. With a mere 11 seconds remaining, Punk won the challenge and opted for a handicap match, forcing Heyman to enter the ominous steel structure alongside Ryback. During the match, Heyman made one last attempt to escape, but Punk managed to catch up and beat him on top of the cell.